Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Hi, Foffit. You've reached Mel from Bella, the podcast that feels like a voice note from your best friend. Welcome to this week's episode of the podcast. My name is Bella, and this week we are going to be chatting about success and the pressure to succeed, because I've kind of been in my own head this week, I can't lie. I felt a little bit anxious and a little bit like, am I doing the right things? Is everything going to fall together? Is this the right decision? Am I doing well enough? Is everything going to be okay? I've just been in my own head about it so much, and I don't really know why. There's not really like something's happened that's made this happen. It's just been fully self-imposed, but it means that I feel like we should chat about it, because I don't feel like I'm the only one. I think it's partially related maybe to it being the end of the year, and it feels like, okay, well, next year I'm 26. Okay, 26. That feels 26, 25 feels quite fun still. So this about 24, and I said like 25 felt bad. I said, sure, I'll be like 26, and then 27 will feel bad. I guess whatever the age you are, that feels like a fun age, and then next year feels like, oh, a bit scary, but it just... Yeah, I've just been in my own head a little bit this week, and I wanted to chat about it because I think so many of us are, you know, like I laid in bed and I literally turned to Lou, I was like, do you actually think I'm going to be successful? And he was like, yes, of course, like blah, blah, blah. And I just thought, what if I'm not? What if I'm not? What if this isn't? I had so much self-doubt, and I know it's not cool to say because... You know, everyone wants to be like, yeah, I'm so confident, blah, 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 blah. But sometimes I don't feel super confident. Sometimes I do feel a bit insecure and unsure, and I kind of doubt myself, and I feel a bit like, oh, is this going to be okay? And so I wanted to come on here and share those thoughts with you, because they're kind of the uncomfortable conversations to have. No one wants to admit it because, again, it's not the most fun. But I don't mind admitting it for you, because I feel like we chat about everything here. So if you're a new listener, welcome to the group chat. This is the inner circle, okay? No one else knows about us. We are the group chat within the group chat. And so I'm so excited that you're here. And if you're a returning listener, welcome back. I cannot wait to chat to you today. First things first, though, let's do a life update. Last weekend, guys, I had such a cute weekend. The Friday night, I didn't really do much, I can't lie. I worked quite late, but unproductively, which sometimes I don't know how that happens, that you can spend like 5 hours on the same task that in the day could take you half an hour, but it was one of those evenings. And then in the morning, I met my friend for coffee. We did a cute little, I've never been to, I'm not going to try it, it's like Sustrine Green, I don't know how to say it, but you know that like, kind of like IKEA, but for decor. Went there for the first time ever, so cute. I got myself an advent calendar. Look at her. Advent candle, sorry, not calendar. And from Habitat, look at the thing that I got to put her in. Can you see? So cute. Got that. Then I got... so that was Saturday. Came back, went to the Campfield Social. There's like a market there every Saturday, which was really nice to go to. Got a little patty. It was delicious. Came home, had a fun home day. Look at the state of my embroidery. Are we all impressed? Because I had some really judgy comments when I posted this on my Instagram, and I'm very proud of myself. And then we got a Chinese, and it was great. And then on Sunday, we braved the Christmas markets, and I feel slightly hypocritical because I have been the one going on and on and on about how the Christmas markets, I'm like, I'm never going to them, such a rip-off, blah, blah, blah. It was actually quite fun, can't lie. I had quite a good time. Felt quite festive. I really enjoyed it. It felt like it just kind of got me in the festive spirit. The only thing I still refuse to do, I'm never going to pay for a meal at the Christmas markets. Like, it's a rip-off. It's okay. We don't have to pretend it's not. It is a rip-off, okay? But we kind of treated it like tapas. We walked around, got an arancini, shared that, got this chocolate waffle. It was insane. It wasn't hot, it was cold, with like thick chocolate on it. Delicious, really satisfied my sugar craving. And then I got it in my head that everyone does paper chains at Christmas. Apparently no one else thinks this, because I cannot find paper chains to save my life, people. There are no paper chains here in Manchester. No cute ones anyway, because I want like thick red card. I think that would just look so festive. I'm going to order some off Amazon after this. That's my little task. But spent Saturday... I don't want to admit how long we spent looking for paper chains in the Arndale, but just know it was too long to spend in the Arndale looking for paper chains. And then on the Sunday, no, that was a Sunday, and then decided to cook Marry Me chicken pasta, which I've seen on BBC Good Food for God knows how long, and always just thought, it sounds a bit meh. It's not meh, okay? I would marry someone if they cooked that chicken pasta dish for me. You fry the chicken in like a flour... Like, so it has like a little bit, like a crispy coating on it. Delicious. Put that to the side. Then you fry sun-dried tomatoes. Do you fry? You fry like onion, garlic, sun-dried tomatoes, chili, lemon, mix that all together, like fry that off, make that cook nice. And then you add mascarpone, salt, pepper, and the chicken into that sauce. Then you add cheese, so much parmesan, and then you mix it and with the pasta. Honestly, could not recommend more. So delicious. And then this week we've got our Christmas tree. She's called Noelle. She is beautiful. She's a tiny little, I would say she comes up to just below my hip. She's a small girl, but she's real and she's in a pot. And so my thinking is, although yes, cost me £25 to buy her, I could have her forever. I may never need a Christmas tree again. I mean, she's going to have to do a lot of growing to get to the size that I'm expecting her to grow to. But I also don't know what I'd do if she actually turned into a 6-foot Christmas tree. That's going to be very tricky. But we'll ignore that because I'm really hopeful I can keep her alive, because then she's an investment. And I do see our life together being long. Also, I got this really cute star for the top of the Christmas tree, right? Adorable. It clips on. Does no one else just think that is genius? Because I'm not going to lie, if it sat on the top, well, that's the whole reason we got her, because she had a good thing that was like, oh yeah, a star will sit on there. We didn't need to do that, but she does. Honestly, she is really cute. I've tied ribbons around her. Little gold, not acorns, cones. Cones? Not cones. It'll come back to me. We've gone for like a red gold, a little bit of an icicle theme, but not too much. Initially, I tried to put every single decoration that I put on the 4-foot tree on her. No, on the 6-foot tree. I tried to put that on her. She looked ridiculous, okay? She was overdressed, over-accessorized. It wasn't very pretty, but this new layout, really good. She is spiky though, can't lie. It's not a soft tree. She's a baby blue fur, and I do feel quite attached to her. Other than that, I haven't really done much. I did also buy this from TK Maxx, right? How cute. It's a candle holder, so I've been putting my scented tea lights in it, and it fully glows like a little house lit up. It's cute. And I was also thinking, I'm like, I could have that out all year round. That doesn't have to just be Christmas. That can be like, I guess it's not really summer, but that's like a winter, autumn, spring decoration, because I don't think that's too Christmassy. And so she'll be staying out forever. And then final thing I got, how cute. It's a table mat, yes, but I've put it on our coffee table and it kind of just looks like, makes our coffee table look Christmas tree themed, and I kind of like it. Other than that, guys, I haven't done much. This weekend we're going out, we're going to go for a hike, and we're going to do a bit of Christmas shopping in the Black Friday sales. I got some good stuff in the Black Friday sales, and I will share this with you when they arrive, because it might not actually be as good as I think, but you never know. But anyway, that is enough of me rambling. Let's get on to the topic of this week's podcast episode. And before we do, if you know someone that's kind of struggling with success at the moment, struggling with where their headspace is at, kind of unsure where they're going in life, send this episode their way. I think they'll enjoy it, and I think they deserve to join the group chat. If you don't already follow us, press the follow button, and if you haven't given us a rate, a review, or a subscribe, what are you playing at? Please do, it helps so many more people find us. Right, on to the content part of this week's podcast episode. There's a quote that I read earlier in the week, and I've been kind of thinking of it ever since, and it says, life can only be understood backwards, but it is lived forwards. And it's actually an excerpt from a journal entry, and the full journal entry is that it is really true what philosophy tells us, that life must be understood backwards. But this one forgets the second proposition, that it must be lived forwards. A proposition which, the more it is subjected to careful thought, the more it ends up concluding precisely that life at any given moment cannot be ever really fully understood. Exactly because there is no single moment where time stops completely in order for me to take position, going backwards. And I think I've been thinking about this a lot, because in my 20s, this is what it's kind of felt. It's felt a lot about me just constantly going into things headfirst, not really understanding where things are going to fall into, and kind of hoping and convincing myself that I know that I have a plan of action, that I know what I'm doing. But the reality is, like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know if this is all going to work out. And then I get these moments of like such intense, like just like a bit of like self-doubt, where I kind of like fully acknowledge I am in the dark, that I don't really know how things are going to fall together. I don't know if this is going to work out. I don't know if I've made the right decision. Like, I don't know. And not knowing is okay, but it's also one of those things that I kind of have to pretend I do know. Because the thought of everything not coming together and it not working out how I expect it to is something that we don't want to consider, because it is scary, because we put so much work and effort into getting to where we want to get to. We try so hard and we have this such like intense dreams and desires, and the acknowledgement that like it might not plan out the way we expect it to plan out is really scary. But it's also, we don't know that it's not going to as much as we don't know that it's due, that it will. You know, we actually have no idea how it's going to work out. All we can do is really hope and want and do everything in our capability to get to where we want to get to, because, you know, we have these big dreams, and we've spoken a lot about finding your spark and about comparison, about running your own race, about being where you are at, and, you know, acknowledging that where you are, you know, you're doing good, acknowledging that. And while that is all really important, I think it's also okay to admit, like, sometimes we have these moments of self-doubt where we don't know how things are going to fall together, and it's a bit scary. It's a bit scary to have, like, put so much on the line to do something, and, like, to put yourself kind of, not at risk, but I think we have to put ourselves at risk in order to do anything we really want to truly do. We have to go all in, and part of going all in means that you are going to feel slightly at risk. And as I'm saying this, like, the sun's literally coming out behind the clouds, and it feels like that feels significant, because everything that we want in life, everything that we want to do, places we want to go, the achievements we want to have, striving towards that means putting ourselves out there, which means making yourself vulnerable, means posting a video that you find a little bit cringe or embarrassing the first time, means, you know, dedicating time to do the craft that you really want to pursue, means sacrificing maybe nights out or going out for dinners, or means like putting your heart and soul into everything that you're doing. The kind of payoff of that is that you will likely succeed at the things you want to do, but you have to make yourself vulnerable to that success. And I think the vulnerability comes from acknowledging, because we all have these moments where we think like, oh, I could actually fail at this. And that's really scary. That is really scary, and I really don't want to fail at all of this, but I could fail at this, and that is a bit terrifying. And that's what I've kind of been feeling. Like, have I done all the right things? I'm kind of choosing the risky option, and is that the right thing to do? Should I be putting all my eggs in one basket? Should I be trying to branch out? Should I be doing more at risk things? I don't know. It's like this constant tightrope, I think, of the safety of the path you know you could take. And we spoke about this last week, the acknowledgement, like, you know where you're going, you know what you're doing, you're constantly living 2 steps ahead. And the comfort that brings, whilst acknowledging that things you really want to do, when it's outside of the box, when it's not typical, when it's pushing yourself and like what you want to do out of your comfort zone, means kind of putting yourself at risk and doing things that aren't fully conventional. That's where you kind of just have to do the thing that is a bit scary. And I think part of the thing that is scary is making that decision in the first place. And I think this really nicely links to the fig tree analogy. And the fig tree analogy, it's most famously displayed in Sylvia Plath's novel, I think it's called The Bell Jar. I think so. The whole notion of the story is that a girl sits under a fig tree and she doesn't know which fig to eat. And she spends so long deciding what fig to eat that eventually the figs drop and they fall and they're rotten and they've dried up and she can't eat any of them anymore. It's over. That opportunity is gone. And then the analogy is meant to symbolize you kind of working out your path in life, working out where you want to go, working out who you want to be. And this fear of not understanding who we are and this fear of wanting to get everything right will mean that we put ourselves on the back seat. Will mean that we wait and we wait and we wait and we try for things to come together and we try and make things, this perfect idea, but we're so scared of failing that we don't act until we have this perfect plan, and then we miss out on opportunities. We miss out on the different ways our life could have gone. We miss out on things that could have been really great because we're so fearful to kind of make ourselves vulnerable, to do the thing that's a little bit risky, to do the thing that feels a little bit out of our comfort zone, to push ourselves because, we have these goals, but then we feel scared that we're not going to complete them. And that fear of not completing them is kind of familiar. It's kind of controlled. It's kind of something that it's a familiar emotion. And sometimes that can make it more of a welcomed emotion than something that's out of your comfort zone. And so we all have these moments where we feel a lot of self-doubt, when we feel uncertain about who we want to go and where we want to be and what we want to do. But in those moments, you have to make sure you make a decision, and you have to make sure that you kind of realize it's okay to feel a little bit doubtful right now. It's okay to realize that what you're doing is a little bit risky. It's not conventional. Maybe I should be spending more time working in like a proper 9-to-5 career. Maybe I shouldn't be spending as much time as I am trying to all of these thoughts go around your head, because it's not the conventional option, and so it feels daunting and it feels nerve-wracking and it feels kind of, But the thing is, it's your dream and it's what you want to do. And in order to succeed, you have to do something that's a little bit, you have to try and you have to give it a really good go. Okay. You have to give it a proper good go. It's not to say you have to stick at the same thing forever. But I think you can't drop everything just because you had this day where you really felt a bit unsure about everything. Because I think a lot, we forget about like the progress we've made. I forget how much further I've come this time compared to last year. And like one of my biggest goals of the year, makes me a bit emotional. I was like, I just want to find a life. I just want to create like a happy life. Like I want to have a life that I'm happy in. I don't have these big, huge, crazy goals. I more just wanted to create a life. I was like, do you know what? I feel good in this. This is something that makes me feel happy. I feel like I have a happy, like I like my job. I like the content creation that I'm doing. Like I just feel happy. And although there's been moments, I've had these emotional feelings where I don't feel 10 out of 10. I think that's normal because I do feel happy a lot of the time. And I think that has been because I took a risk. And it's paying off, but the risk hasn't fully paid off. And I'm still doing things where I'm like, oh, is this the right decision? But we can never know what the decision is going to be. And I read this article and I want to bring it in here because I read this book, right, called The Unbearable Lightness of Being. Honest confession, I didn't like it. Okay, it wasn't for me. But I think this paragraph of the book really nicely links into this idea that we think our life can be so totally different. We think, we put so much pressure of success on ourselves and the pressure to do so well because the idea that we're not going to do well, the idea that the other path could be better, we don't know that. We have no idea. All we know is the path that we live. We have no idea how these other paths are going to go. And a section from the book reads, human life occurs only once, and the reason we cannot determine which of our decisions are good and which bad is that in a given situation, we can only make one decision. We are not granted a second, third, or fourth life in which to compare various decisions. And it just made me think that, I think me making a different decision, the safer option, focusing more on a traditional career path, I think, okay, maybe that's the right thing to do. Maybe that's the best thing I should be focusing on. But the reality is I don't know that would be better because we can only make one decision. We can only decide in one place what we're doing and what we understand. And we can look at our lives backwards and we can understand them, we can comprehend them, but we're living them forwards. We still have to make decisions every single day. And I think that's why the quote of we can only understand our lives backwards, but we are living them forwards is so interesting, is because we are. Like I'm making decisions and I'm doing what I'm doing, thinking I have it all figured out, but I don't have it all figured out and I will never have it all figured out because we'll never pause. Even if I sit on that sofa and journal for God knows how long, life hasn't paused. I've still been thinking about, I've still been living, I've still been moving forward, I've still been making new decisions that at another point I'll be able to look back and consider how it all mapped out. And while as we get older, I think we get more confident in the decisions we want to get, I think it's also okay to have these moments of self-doubt where we feel a little bit unsure. I think we all have them. But they're just not super fun to say out loud because, we want to be super confident and thinking, yay, everything's going great, woo! And it doesn't mean that things aren't going great. It doesn't mean you haven't achieved things. I think it just means you're human. Because to push yourself out of your comfort zone, to want to achieve big things means making yourself vulnerable to failure. It means making yourself vulnerable to getting it wrong, means acknowledging that you might not have chosen the right path, but you'll never know unless you try. And this is the path you want more than all of the others. And so you just kind of have to stick with it. And I know that's probably the most useless advice ever, but you kind of just have to keep going, okay? You just have to keep going and have these feelings of self-doubt, acknowledge them and just know I'm feeling them too. But we're still going to stick with this. We're not going to drop it. I still think this is something worthwhile pursuing because something in me says it is. And I don't have a concrete answer and I can't tell you it's the right one, but something feels right. And so I'll carry on doing it. And learning and growing and evolving. And maybe in the future I'll change my mind, or maybe in the future I'll stick with this forever. I don't know because we'll never know. But I just trust myself in the future to be able to make that decision. I trust that I'll be able to navigate the future life that I want so well. I'll be able to navigate and create a life that I really love. And I think that gives me comfort. It does now I've spoken it all out loud. Now I feel much better about it all. I think it's just totally normal when you want to be successful and you put so much pressure on yourself to be successful, the comfort in choosing the way that you know probably would make you successful, that feels comforting. The traditional plan. But you know, you only get one life. This is it. You only get one chance at it all. And so sometimes you can't play it too safe. You got to give it a good go, you know? The sun is coming and it's going to ruin the lighting in here. And so I'm going to quickly answer your questions. First one, favorite November hobbies. I love your podcast. Thank you for listening. I'm so excited that you're part of the extra group chat. Like, it makes it feel special. Favorite November hobbies, this bad boy. Okay? Wow. Who knew a punch needle kit could bring some girl so much joy? It's so easy. All you do, okay, let me find the needle. I've lost the needle. All you do, just trust me on this, right? You get this special needle and you just shove it through and you just do that over and over again. There's no skill involved, okay? Absolutely zero skill. You just shove it through. It's very mindful. Cost me £6. Couldn't recommend it more if I tried. Honestly, I think everyone should get one of these because how cute is that going to be when I can hang it up? Can you see it? No, see, the sun's coming. I've procrastinated too much today. That's one of my favourite November hobbies. I've also... I would say I've taken up running again. I haven't, but I went on a run today and that was really nice. And so I'm trying to take up, I've done more outside things and I've really enjoyed hiking when I can. And so I think reading more, and trying to be outside when the sunshine is nice. Those have been my top November hobbies, I'd say. I love this question. Okay, top 3 experiences. Me and Louis did like such a perfect walk. We did that Win Hill walk and I really liked it. The sun was out. It was just really it was just a really good day. That was really lovely. Second November experience. The second one, I'd say decorating the Christmas tree. Like that felt like such we were long distance, me and my boyfriend, for like 4 years. And so whenever we're in our like flat and like doing these things that always kind of felt like, will we ever get to that point? They always feel quite like special. And so that was probably second favorite experience. Third favorite experience. Do you know what? I've had some really fun nights out, I can't lie. Like really, really fun ones, silly ones. Like just with my friends and with Louis, just like with everyone. It's been good. And so there was a night out that was very spontaneous and just started we went to a few pubs and then we watched the rugby and then we went to a few other pubs and then we came back and then we were like, what are our friends doing? Then we went and saw our friends and we met up with them and it just felt like we have a real network here of people and that's really lovely. And I think that would probably be my third favourite memory of just like silly, fun nights out where they're very spontaneous and being able to have that network in the city that you live takes a while to build. And I feel like over the last year, we've really built that and it feels nice, feels something that I'm really grateful for. But thank you for listening to this week's episode of the podcast. If you don't already, make sure you are following me on social media at Mail from Bella. And if you don't already follow or subscribe to the podcast, what are you doing? Press subscribe and I can't wait to chat to you again next week. Thank you for listening. I love you so much and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I love you. Bye. Mwah.